So, why do you crave sugar? There are so many people out there trying to deal with their sugar cravings, trying to cut that sugar craving, cut all sugar out, and eventually the craving for sugar will go away, which might work temporarily for some people, but we all crave sugar for a reason. Our bodies like naturally want sugar because if you imagine like a caveman or just a prehistoric person, like back in the day when we didn't know what to eat. Nowadays, because of years and like generations of knowledge that have been passed down, we know this plant is poisonous, this plant is edible, and we know what to eat. But way back in the day, people didn't just know what to eat. Before, when we were a little bit more connected to instinct and before we got so like disconnected from the earth, we might be able to pick up the answers from the earth, and the plant itself would kind of just tell us this is edible, this is healthy for you, this is what you should eat. And then another plant might be like, stay away from me, I'm dangerous. And we would be able to tell, like pick up the little signs, like a bird in the wild or an animal in the wild. They all know what they're supposed to eat. They don't have to think about it like, oh, is this good for me, is that good for me, I'm not really sure, is this going to keep me healthy, is it going to help me lose weight? You know, like most animals just know what they're supposed to eat. So a person back in the day when they needed to decide what to eat and they weren't really sure, sweet was the flavor that they looked for. Sweet was the flavor that told them that this food was edible. So every single thing that they ate, while it doesn't compare to the level of sweet really that we have to deal with today, everything that they ate was based on the flavor of sweet. If it didn't taste sweet, it probably wasn't edible. And because, like I said, that doesn't compare to the flavor, the level of sweet that we have today, like in pure sugar, they would still eat like things like fruits and stuff that were extremely sweet, but they would be able to notice on a more subtle level things that are sweet. Like an arugula leaf wouldn't necessarily be considered sweet in your head, but an arugula leaf compared to a leaf that really like is poisonous and shouldn't be eaten at all is still gonna have like a slight bit of sweetness. I bet you even mustard leaves to a degree have this like slight bit of sweetness that just tells the tongue it is edible. Even though there's spice and all this other stuff to it, there's a sweetness to it. That's what tells us this is edible. So we always are craving and looking for sweets because that's what our body needs to run. If you're feeling low on energy, if you want your brain to have a little bit more like have a happy mood or a little bit more focus and attention, you're gonna crave sugar because every single cell in your body runs off of glucose, which is sugar, which is carbohydrates. Your brain can't think. It's the only thing that can get into your brain, clear it out, and give it energy and the food that it needs. Yes, our brains are made of fat, and we only need a very small amount of fat in our diet to sustain that. But the food for our brain and the food for our cells is not fat. It is sugars. So that's why we crave sugars naturally. I'll make another video on why we crave salt, but the salty cravings that we have, the opposite of the sweet cravings that we have, our bodies are looking for minerals. But I'll make another video about that a little bit later. I'm just trying to let you know that you shouldn't be so afraid of sugar. It's a natural thing to crave sugar. And if you're worried about eating too much white processed sugar, which could cause some inflammation and some problems, but not as bad as, diet book industry is trying to make it out to be. But if you are concerned about eating too much white sugar, just try to eat a bunch of fruit sugars, carbohydrates. They're like, oh, don't eat potatoes or rice because it's going to turn to sugar in your blood and turn straight to fat and give you like diabetes types problems. That's not the case at all. It's propaganda. They're trying to keep you roped in, and a lot of people just don't know better. So you crave sugars for a reason. When you're craving salts, you're craving minerals. Give yourself the sugar that you need. Give yourself the sugar that you crave. Keep your diet low in fat. Eat a whole bunch of fruits. Eat a whole bunch of carbohydrates. And don't fear sugar. Have a good one. Bye.